Okay, morning, folks. Welcome to the briefing on New Year's Eve, the 31st. Despite the forecast, doesn't really look very nice out there at the moment, but I think things will improve. This is the midday chart. Shows the cold front past us, and we're just in a westerly, southwesterly airflow between the fronts. You could sort of describe this as warm sector, though it's the wrong way round. I don't think it's a classic cold front clearance, but it sort of stopped raining sort of sometime in the next hour, I suppose, and then we'll have a flyable slot in here, if not a bit windy, because you can see the sort of spacing of the isobars still fairly tight. These frontal systems come across us in the next 24 hours. You can see there's a gap tomorrow in this sector here, and then this cold front goes through. In theory, at lunchtime is the timing at the moment. So what do the TAFs say about today? Farnborough, 220-12 knots. Yeah, it's at least that out there at the moment from the southwest. Scattered at 1,200 feet. Probably a bit lower than that here. Tempo between 8 and 12, 6,000 meters rain and drizzle. I think 12 is erring on the side of a little bit later than what the data is showing it'll clear. And then broken at 1,200 feet. And then tempo as that clears, the sort of wind will pick up a little bit. It will be fairly strong. And it really is sort of seeing what kind of clearance we've actually got behind this front. They're sort of promising sort of perhaps broken at 800 feet. Don't know. I think it might be a bit better than that. Gatwick's a little bit more optimistic in terms of what they see post cold front. Winds, as I say, it's sort of 220, 15 gusting 25, and the upper winds are southwesterly 30 knots down in the channel, 25 knots central of the country. So pretty windy, folks, but not as much as the last couple of days probably. Sat pic, as I say, doesn't really show a proper clearance. It's quite cloudy in here. The rainfall radar shows that's cleared us, but it's still drizzling out there at the moment. And you can see from the rainfall radar, that's the cold front going through, gone past us. And hopefully it's drying out when this air in here comes across. We'll get something that's actually flyable, hopefully, this morning. Temperature wise, yeah, it's going to feel quite warm out there. It's not cold when you stand outside, even without a coat. So 12, 13 degrees, about the same as the last couple of days. It's a southerly, southwesterly air mass that's drawing in warm, moist air from a long way south. So certainly not cold, but that is the problem. It's got a lot of moisture with it. Top meteo, not really showing a great clearance. This is 9 o'clock. And then as the day goes on, it starts to pick up. They're suggesting that's 1,000-foot cloud base. And then clearing late morning, around lunchtime, a little bit better here, cloud base up to 2,000 feet. And then deteriorating late afternoon, because the next warm front is coming through at that particular point, and that's going to come through overnight. So certainly, fingers crossed, should get some flying. And then top meteo suggesting tomorrow, flyable in the morning, quite pleasant. And then it's 11 o'clock, and then by 1, 2 o'clock we start to see the front get towards us, and probably rain coming through in the afternoon. Okay, if we do go flying today in terms of airspace, as you can see, very, very little. This is like almost identical to yesterday, the day before, and the day before that. Interestingly, I think I said this before Christmas, they haven't changed the airspace for the Salisbury Plain danger areas. Normally they lower it or remove some of it, but now all they just note having is that it's no crossing service available. So it's still actually in place. But round Lasham, nothing of note. That one's a firework display at Windsor Great Park this evening. And operationally, no jet movements, no other traffic known. I think we're going to be on 2-3, trying to operate on the runway, keeping the gliders on the tarmac, and then possibly land 2-7, depending on the crosswind, on the left-hand side of 2-3. And on the right-hand side, we'll land on 2-3 in the centre grass triangle, which should be reasonably dry. But the grass is going to be fairly wet in places, folks, because it's rained fairly steadily for the last 2 or 3 days. So, as I say, we'll see how we get on. We'll take a view on it maybe in an hour's time when it starts to clear up, and we'll perhaps get the gliders out at that point, and we'll see you there. If not, should be quite nice tomorrow. So you want to come out and fly and enjoy the start of the new year.